Whether we like it or not, our bodies, our emotional experiences will hold the last 9 months.
Educators, leaders, all of you listening, you literally are extraordinary. And at the same time, the work is so hard.
But once we begin to reflect and really bring it into our conscious awareness, that's the opportunity to create a new path forward.
You literally did enough this year. You did enough.
Full stop. Like, stop right there.
Full stop. You did enough. You did more than enough. Just remember how brilliant you are, how amazing you are, and that you deserve this space and this time this summer to sit in that. Congrats, y'all. Another school year is almost in the books. I imagine many of you are walking down the halls, listening to your students talk to each other. The energy is high. Summer's about to happen. And, just knowing that in a couple days from now, a couple weeks from now, those hallways are going to be incredibly quiet. And summer's about to happen. And so Sam and I thought, what a beautiful time to take a pause and just reflect on, where are you now after 9 months of giving your whole heart, your whole soul to your students and to your communities. And we want to take you through a process of both reflecting on and integrating the past school year and also creating that sacred space that you need to replenish and rejuvenate this summer. So, Sam, why don't you start us by taking us into the body where we desperately need some attention?
Sounds great. So, a practice that we often teach and that is really powerful is called the body scan. Imagine many of you are driving, so I won't ask you to close your eyes. And let's all take a moment and ground, right? See if you can connect to your breath here. Just observing your inhale through your nose and the exhale through your mouth. With each breath, just tune in. Where are you right now? How does it feel to be in your body in this moment? Maybe you tune into certain sensations in your face, your neck, your chest, your stomach, your legs, your feet. Just noticing what feels really alive for you right now. Maybe you feel a little jittery, or you notice a certain sensation in your stomach or your heart center, or maybe your throat feels a little constricted. Whatever it might be, see if you can just take a moment as we start this episode. Just tune in. What is going on with you right now? See if you can find where one sensation lives in your body. Just really tune into that for a moment. Maybe even name an emotion that feels present there. For me, it's like anxious excitement as we start this episode together.
Scare-sighted.
Yeah, scare-sighted. What's it for you all? Maybe you say it out loud. And as you tune into it, I'll introduce just a second practice that we love, which is called the stress test. And so here we just take a moment and name an emotion that we're feeling and try to explore, like, what's it telling you? What's it saying? Is there a message that it has for you? Right, for me, my scare-sighted, it's all about like, I'm so excited to be here with all of you. And right, I'm wondering, am I doing a good job? Just a feeling that I imagine many of you can resonate with. What's it for you? What's an emotion that you're feeling, and what's it saying to you? What's its message for you all? See if a message appears, if something just comes. And maybe you say it out loud, or you just bring it into this space as Ilana and I start this episode with y'all.
Hmm.
What do you have come up for you there?
I'm feeling Hmm. It's like a little bit of inspired,
Uh,
but also, like, overwhelmed.
mhm,
I think the inspiration is just knowing there's so many millions of educators that in this moment in time at the end of the school year, they've put just so much effort, love, care, hope, and inspiration into their teaching this year, and also this, like, sense of overwhelm I just, like, felt. I
mm,
remember being in the classroom just feeling at this time of the year, like, just like I was about to collapse. Like, my nervous system just could not and would not settle because I was going a million miles an hour for my students for 9 months straight, and so just feeling that sense of, like, overwhelm, for all educators and what we carry.
mhm,
And the other thing that came to mind is I remember when I was a teacher and hearing people it pissed me off so much, hearing people saying, "Oh, you're so lucky you're a teacher. It's so easy, you have the summer off."
right.
And I was like, "Are you freaking kidding me?
Mhm,
This is the hardest profession in the world." And I don't do this work for the money, let me tell you. I'm doing it for the students, and the summer isn't just this, like, thing I can easily transition into, it's like there's a collapse that happens at this time. It's like so I'm just feeling that for people right now
yeah.
and hoping that in this episode, we can support that integration process.
Yeah, beautiful. And just to say a little more about that, because I remember, gosh, it's so vivid for me. My first year teaching, it's the end of the year, the hallways are quiet, my room is a mess,
Disaster.
disaster, right? And I'm trying to take an exhale, and all that's there for me is just so much overwhelm. I'm exhausted.
Mhm.
And I remember going home and I had
Oh, yeah, social
all these
events,
plans.
you're going out dancing, you're
Yeah.
like, I'm letting loose." Yeah.
And I just remember sleeping for a week. Really, I remember
Totally.
doing just nothing and just right, because that's where we are as educators so often. Our nervous system is so out of whack. Our window of tolerance, right, which is that stress that we can really navigate and manage has just narrowed so much because of all the stress, the anxiety, the
Mhm.
overwhelm, the burnout of the year,
Yep.
but we've just managed and we've gotten through it. And
Mhm.
then we arrive at this moment, the end of the school year, and we just
We
collapse.
collapse. And, you know, when you just mentioned the nervous system, it's like what's actually happening in our bodies. Like when we experience stress, stress can be really healthy. It's awesome if it's taken in stride, right? But if it happens day after day, week after week, month after month, which for many of us as educators, that's our life, that's our experience. It leads to chronic stress, which can show up in our bodies as this experience of fight or flight, which is like you're in a sympathetic nervous system state, constantly like on edge, fight, flight, anxiety, and or you could be that's hyper arousal, that fight or flight, or you might be in a state of just total collapse withdrawal, which at this point of the year, this is kind of where I went to is like I was in this like fight or flight, hyper aroused state, which is too much arousal. And you're just going a million miles an hour. And then at some point, you're just like, I literally can't go that many miles an hour anymore. Oh, and it's too little arousal. And both of those nervous system states, hyper arousal or hypo arousal, too much arousal or too little arousal, they're they put you out of your window of tolerance, which is where we can handle stress really effectively. And so, wherever you are at, if you're listening, it's the end of the school year for you. Maybe you're still going a million miles an hour. You're in that hyper aroused state. There's this need to take some moments of pause to come back to that place of groundedness and center. Or if you're in that collapse state, that hypo-aroused state, there's a need to slowly reintegrate and energize yourself. And both of those places, if that's where you are, it's absolutely perfect, and we understand that you're there because you care so much and you've worked so hard and you're doing the most freaking important
Yes.
work in the world. So thank you for doing that. And there are some beautiful ways that we can process the school year, that we can take time to reflect, and that we can slowly integrate and transition into the summer so that you can take this well-deserved break that you need to then set yourself up to do this all over again.
And it's so very true. When we're running that quickly, as many of you have this entire school year, it's really difficult to find time to reflect.
Mhm.
And when we don't give ourselves that time to reflect, it's really hard to replenish, to
Yeah,
integrate, to move forward more effectively, to apply lessons in ways that we might grow and be better versions of ourselves. And so we wanted to take some time now and give you that gift of slow, spacious reflection.
absolutely. And so we're going to start with one of my favorite practices. And I know Sam and I are both obsessed with
Hmm.
emotional intelligence. That's one of the 5 layers of human intelligence that we dive deep into in our master's program. And a practice that can be incredibly helpful when you're going through this process of reflecting on the past is called emotion visitor. And this is where you actually tap into what emotion am I even experiencing right now? And the emotion becomes a visitor, a friend, a guest, so to speak, and something that you can learn from. And so I would love to take you all through this practice. And again, if you're moving around, if you're driving, you can absolutely do this with your eyes open. And if you have the luxury of laying in your bed right now or on a couch or sitting up, you can close your eyes if that feels good for you, or find a soft, steady gaze on something in front of you. And so I invite you to just turn your attention inside you. So that might mean that you're taking your focus on whatever it is that you were looking at or listening to. Well, keep listening to me, but
Hmm.
you can take your focus and turn it inward. Maybe you first are observing each breath that's moving in and out of your body. And maybe you are paying such close attention to your internal experience that you can even notice the rhythm of your heart beating. If you'd like, you can place your palms over your heart. And as you continue to breathe here, I invite you to just reflect back on your school year and just notice what emotion is most present for you as you sit with the last 9, 10 months. What comes up for you emotionally? Maybe there's a sense of relief. Maybe you're feeling anxious. Maybe there's some shame. Maybe there's joy or pride or gratitude. Maybe there's anger or frustration. And I really encourage you do not make this emotion wrong or bad. Just honor it. Hmm. And I invite you to imagine as though that emotion is sitting right in front of you. Just like Sam is sitting in front of me, I invite you to imagine that that emotion is like a visitor showing up. And maybe your eyes are closed and you're imagining that emotion in front of you. Maybe you're actually looking at something in the room that represents that emotion for you. But can you ask the emotion, what are you here to show me? What can I learn from you? Frustration. What is there to be learned here? Joy. What is it that you have to teach me? What are you showing me that you need right now? And can you just take a moment and integrate that? Thank the emotion for whatever it is that it's here to teach you. And with that, take a deep breath in, honoring this emotion, and a deep breath out. And if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them. And I'm curious for you, Sam, what came up for you in that?
Yeah. For me, it's messy, Ilana.
Ooh, tell me more. I love messy.
It's like I feel both really grateful and proud of the way that I show up, especially as I think back over the 9 months. You also brought me back to being in the classroom. So I was
Mhm.
sitting in that also, like, how did I feel in those years? So there's always that pride, that appreciation, and it's mixed. And I feel like my shoulders slump a little bit as I
I
say
actually
this,
saw that
right?
happen in the middle of your
Yeah.
practice.
It's like mixed with this self-criticism around, I didn't do enough. I
Mm,
was picturing a few of my students who failed or who I just feel didn't get that much from the school year. There were attendance issues, things like that. And I just felt like some criticism come up, like, why didn't you do more?
mhm,
This work really matters, right? That student who didn't come to school, right? Like his life might go really sideways,
mhm,
and could have I done more? And so I feel like that mixture there
mm,
of emotions that I'm sitting with as I reflect back on what it was like for me in the classroom and in the school, right? Yeah.
mhm. You're bringing me back to when I was teaching, and I remember this sense of relief at this time, but
Yeah.
then also just deep sadness and grief, knowing that no matter what was happening in the walls of my classroom, I knew so many of my students were going home to, neighborhoods where there was lots of violence, poverty, there was some abuse in their families, and knowing that there was only so much that I could do in the walls of my classroom to what I thought at the time was, like, protect them, so to speak, even though I've, like, rethought that framing over the years. And just knowing that as educators, we carry the weight of the world, the weight of our students on our shoulders all the time. And at the same time as, like, that sadness comes up around that, also, like, there's some hope that comes up for me, which is around the recognition, and I know there's a research study on this that says that one person, it only takes one adult to fundamentally transform a child's life. And I know for many of you here, that adult, that teacher is
Is
you.
you. Yeah.
And so I just kind of am feeling really hopeful and proud of all the educators at this time, knowing that even though it feels so hard, you did the thing. Like, you are doing this work that is fundamentally transforming the future of our world by the day to day moments and interactions and conversations that you're having with our kids.
Totally. And that weight that Alana's describing that I and she was just sitting
It's a
with, it's a
lot.
lot to hold as you move into your summer.
Mhm,
And when we don't take time to reflect, what often happens, this resonates deeply with me, is it's not like you're letting go of that.
mhm,
It's just in your body. The body keeps a score, as Gabor Mate, just a brilliant psychotherapist and leader in the space, talks about, right? Like you are still holding a lot of that pain, that stress, that
mhm,
criticism, right? Mixed with the pride and the gratitude and the appreciation. And what's it like to let some of that go?
mhm. And
S-
Sam, a lot of what's coming up for me now as you say that is that when we hold so much, there's stories that come out of it about, like, we make up stories about who we are, right? And we the stories that we often tell ourselves are not really the most supportive stories, right? That itty bitty shitty committee comes inside like, I didn't do enough. I'm not good enough. I don't know if I could do this again. And so I'm curious if you could take us through a little process of trying to unpack and uncover what those stories might be that so many of the educators right now are holding about themselves as it relates to this year, because I
Yeah.
think that can be incredibly helpful in, reshaping, rethinking who we are.
Totally. And permission as I move into this for it to feel messy. Maybe there's a
Mhm.
bit of a jumbled story that you're holding about this year, both the highs and the lows. And what's it like to just hold those at the same time?
Mhm.
They can be intentions, certainly. So I invite you to take a moment and just settle in. And that can be taking a deep breath and letting something go with your exhale. And if you're not driving, if you're in a space where it's available, you can close your eyes here, but just permission to invite in the emotions that you're experiencing about the last 9 months. Maybe one or two that Alana and I just shared really resonated with you. See if you can find your own version of that. Invite you here to put your hands on your heart and your other hand over that hand and just tune into the pulse of your heart here, the emotional gateway to your experience. And when you allow yourself to tune into the last 9 months, what a journey. What's here for you? Is it compassion for yourself? Maybe. Is it self-criticism like I named? Is it pride? Appreciation? Maybe it's even a mixture, or shame might be showing up here, or I didn't do enough. So see if you can just place your own version as you reflect back. Again, no judgment here. Just what's really authentic to you when you reflect back on the last nine or so months. Once you have that, maybe you say, all right, I accept you. I accept you, shame. I get why you're here. I accept you, pride. And then I invite you to take a moment and reflect, what is the story that you're telling yourself about where you've been over the last 9 months? Often our stories have to do with the emotions that we feel, right? So one story that I held as a school teacher was, I'm not doing enough. I didn't do enough for those 3 students who really needed me this year. And so I don't, maybe that's a story that you're holding on to about this past school year. Right. At the same time, I can hold a different story that, gosh, I really pushed it. I stayed up late. I went the extra mile. Right? I really did show up in a lot of ways. And so see if you can place the story or the stories that you're holding about this school year, about yourself this school year, about how you showed up. I'll just give you a moment to try the bottom line. The story I'm making up about this past year for me is that the story I hold is. It's okay if it seems a little bit ridiculous, right? I know that's not true. That's okay. We all have stories, they're important. So see if you can just name the story or a few stories that you're holding, you're carrying with you about the last 9 months. Let's all take a deep breath in here and exhale it out. You can open your eyes if they're
Mm.
closed. And the truth, y'all, is we live by the stories we tell ourselves. And it's so important to name what those stories are. So I'm curious, Alana, like, where did you go?
Hmm. Wow. Well, as you know, this last year was quite the year for me.
Yeah.
Um, in October, I was like right in the middle of leading multiple courses for our master's program, creating incredible curriculum so that educators can continue to do what they do through Breathe for Change. And then I fell 44 feet rock climbing, and all of the plans just got turned upside down. And so the stories that initially came up for me in that like near death experience related to that was I didn't do enough for my students. I got as far behind and I like I screwed it up for everybody.
Mm.
But then like I sat with it for a little longer. I was like, I'm a fucking miracle.
Yes, you are.
Like the fact that I'm here is a miracle and I learned so much from that process. And so it was just an interesting journey the longer I sat with the stories that aren't necessarily serving me
Mm.
or our community, the more I was able to have a glimpse into, like, the opportunity that came out of the challenging experiences that I faced as a result of, the unexpected.
Yeah,
And so, thank you for that. It was kind of beautiful. What about you?
of course. For me, just again, just a mixture here of, I mean, what a year as I just reflect back, right? I had my third kid. I got three kids, five and under, like a lot going on in the Levine household,
We have
certainly.
5 kids,
We
5 and
do.
under between the
I
2 of
know. God
us.
bless. God bless. And God bless all you educators with young children where you've
Yes.
been through that, right? What a beautiful, difficult journey, right? And like, I feel really grateful. So there's this story that I was telling myself around, gosh, I'm holding a lot right now.
Mhm.
And kudos, like a pat on the back. And I hope you all listening, like literally take your right hand and give yourself a pat on the
Yes.
back. Like you deserve it. What a thing,
Hug.
right? And then take both arms,
Oh,
give yourself a full body hug. Like educators, you do the hardest work in the world, right? I hope that you give yourselves that pat. I hope you give yourself that hug. Truly, I mean that. And for me, and it's mixed with, gosh, those times I yelled at my kids, those times I didn't really show up fully at work, those times I didn't show up for a friend in particular, right? Like, so it's a story that I tell myself I'm not doing enough. That's in tension with the story of I'm doing so much.
mhm.
And I notice that both of those stories just live in my body.
Yep.
And if I don't bring them into awareness, well, then they're just kind of hidden and subconscious, and they're still running the show
Mhm.
in a lot of ways because it's difficult for me to exhale. It's difficult for me to really settle when I don't name what's going on, what's been for me.
Well, and that first step of naming is awareness. And so it's so critical for us to bring our awareness to what story am I even telling myself about who I am in this moment or who I've been over this school year. And so that's step one is awareness. But then once you're aware, I heard one story, and I know that you and I have lived by this story, and it runs our show a lot of the time, which is I'm not enough or I'm not good enough. There's an opportunity to rethink that story. And there's this incredible practice. I don't know if all of you listening know the acronym THINK, but it's awesome.
Hmm.
And at Breathe for Change in our curriculum, there's like in education way too many acronyms because I'm obsessed with acronyms, and THINK
She
is a
is.
great one. So I want to play with the story that you just brought up. I'm not good enough. And as you're listening, if you have one of those disempowering stories that actually is not necessarily serving you, so to speak, in your life, I want you to play with this as I'm modeling it with Sam. So I'm going to have you answer 5 questions. So I'm not good enough.
Hmm.
I want to hear you say it.
I'm not good enough. I feel that sometimes.
Yeah.
True.
Yeah. So T, is that true? And Sam, I mean, is it
Mm.
really true? Like fact.
No, definitely not.
Okay.
I hope that all of you who have a similar type of belief, I hope that you can say that and mostly believe it, right? And sit with that, right? What's it like to say no powerfully to that limiting belief? It's not true.
And another way to think about it, if it's actually so ingrained in you, is what would the person who loves me the most say to that question?
Mm.
right?
Yeah.
What would the person who loves me the most, would they say it's true? And I can guarantee the answer is no. So, question 2, which is H in think, is it helpful? Sam, is it helpful for you in your life and for the people that you love in your life and the people that you teach in your life? Is it helpful for you to have the belief, I'm not good enough?
Oh, no. It slows me down. It brings a part of me, a version of me online that's not really all that empowering or alive or energized. So, no, that shit doesn't serve me.
Totally. And I've seen those parts that come out in you that it's like you get smaller physically, like literally. Yeah. And then let's move to the I and think, is it inspiring? Is this story of I'm not good enough? Is it actually inspiring for you? Is it inspiring for those who you interact with every day?
No. In fact, it almost makes me angry to think about how uninspiring it is and what it's like to live in that space and what it means for how I walk through the world and how I experience inspiration.
I love that when you're saying that, you, like, sparked up like a little
Yeah.
butterfly. It was
Uh-huh.
so sweet, and I could just see the inspiration showing through in your eyes, knowing there's another way. Okay, so we've done the first 3 and think, now we're moving to N. Is it necessary? Another way of thinking about that is this story actually needed in your life right now?
Yeah. Hmm. I've sat with that story so much, Ilana. Like I've looked
I
at it in
know.
so many different ways, and no, it's not needed. It doesn't serve me. For all the educators out there who have a similar type of belief as you move into the summer, it's certainly not. It's not bringing you the type of joy or emotional experience that you all deserve. So I don't think it's needed, and I hope it's not needed for anyone who's listening to this call.
Beautiful. And finally, you ready to complete this think? Kind is that story. I'm not good enough. Sam, I am Sam. I'm not good enough. Is it kind to you? Is it kind to those around you?
Yeah, it's loud, it's dark, it's the itty bitty shitty committee showing up to try to voice, what it thinks. It's the dark part, right? It's I have a lot of compassion for that part. I understand more of where it comes from, and that's really important too. It's not that I want to just punch it or throw it away. And right, like when I deeply know, no, it's not.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, sit with that for a second. You
Uh-huh.
just said the story I'm not good enough. It's not T, true. It's not H, helpful. It's not I, inspiring. It's not N, necessary. And it's not K,
Kind.
kind. And so, with that new information, what's another story, an empowering story, a supportive story that will set you up to thrive more deeply in your life, to fulfill like your purpose, your hopes and dreams that you have for yourself? What
Yeah.
what can you literally like swap that story out with that creates a new internal narrative for yourself that will allow you to believe in the person that I know you to be, that the people
Yeah.
who love you know you to be? What is that for you?
I love that. The one that resonates the most with me of that acronym is kind,
Huh.
kindness.
Huh.
When you said it, it was like, ah, yes. Like, what is a story that is kind to me? What would it be like to be a bit kinder? And so I offer that up to all of you as well as educators who really push and are self-critical and right struggle with things like pleasing or perfectionism. Like what's it like to just be a little bit kinder to
Mm.
yourself? And so what comes to me, Alana, when I think about the kinder story is whew, I did a lot this year. I really pushed it. I'm proud of myself. And the
Mm.
story I'm telling myself is that one, I am enough. And two, that I really showed up this year and I'm proud of myself. And I deserve a break. I deserve an opportunity to rejuvenate and to be kind and gentle with myself.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, you do. And yes,
Hmm.
you are. So amazing. And just like the difference in how you looked when you said the story, I'm not good enough. And then you reclaimed a new story of, I am enough,
Mhm.
and all the other stories that came after that that were more inspiring. It was night and day.
Mhm.
It was like your shoulders were collapsed in the first one.
Yeah.
You look disempowered in your face. You're a little shut down in your expression. And the other ones, you're like, your chest is open. You were smiling. It's like that way of being when you walk through the world, truly believing in this new story. And you're not going to believe it at first. You're going to have to repeat it over and over and over again. You can literally speak into being this story by repeating it in your mind like an affirmation. I am enough. I am enough. I am enough. Even if you don't believe it, fake it till you make it. And then eventually it'll become. And it's reminding me how important it is not only for us to reclaim these new stories, but to invite the people in that we care most about in our lives into those stories. So that takes vulnerability, Sam. And in our master's program, we have this practice called My Truth, which is an opportunity for each and every one of us to tap into the vulnerabilities within us, right? Which I would argue these disempowering stories and the empowering new stories we want to live into, that's vulnerable. And if we bring people in our lives into those stories, we let them know, hey, I've realized, like, I've been telling myself I'm not good enough, but I want to reclaim that. Can you help me in that? Can you hold me accountable to that? And at Breathe for Change, we also use a term called accountability buddies. Sam, be my accountability buddy. And actually, this is like perfect because you and
Mhm.
I are literally each other's accountability buddies when it comes to this story of I'm not good enough. Because I know that every day you help me see that I am.
Mm. Thanks.
And I appreciate that about
Of
you.
course.
But don't just keep your stories to yourself. Share them with your loved ones, share them with your best friends, share them with the people in your life who you believe can support you in living into the person that you want to become.
1,000%. Yeah, I think if there's one thing that I hope you all take away from this conversation that Ilana and I are having right now, it's that whether we like it or not, our bodies, our emotional experiences will hold the last 9 months as we move into summer. And we have an opportunity to decide, how do we want to be with that?
Mhm.
What stories do we want to tell? Right? What emotions do we want to let go of to feel freer in our experiences, to give ourselves that exhale, that break, that opportunity to feel a little lighter, to smile, to find joy, right? In such a deserving way. We all deserve that. And if we don't take this time to reflect, to be with, well, what was this year like? Well, then it's just running right underneath. It's just that's the noise. But once we begin to reflect and really bring it into our conscious awareness, that's the opportunity to create a new path forward. That's the opportunity to choose to find that freedom. And I know that that's been so powerful for the tens of thousands of educators that we've worked with in our programs, is just giving them that gift to see how beautiful, how wonderful, how much they're doing, how good they are, right? How good all of you are, and just the space to then reclaim. How do I want to be moving forward? How do I want to find that exhale and just create a better, fuller version of myself as I move into summer?
Ugh, I'm so inspired by what
Mm,
you just said, Sam, because educators, leaders, all of you listening, you literally are extraordinary. And at the same time, the work is so hard. So if you just walk away knowing like you are enough, you're incredible, you're brilliant, you're beautiful, you're inspiring, you're the best teacher, you're the best leader. You literally did enough this year. You did enough. And if you could just
full stop. Like,
full
stop
stop.
right there.
You did
Did
enough. You
enough.
did more than enough. You went above and beyond. We know on average educators work 10, 20 hours more than the contract. And that's what the research says. I would say it's probably more like 40, but that's just my opinion. It's not grounded in data. The research shows that educators work so many hours more than we're paid for. And on top of that, are 2 times more burnt out than other professions across the United States of America. And so just remember how brilliant you are, how amazing you are, and that you deserve this space and this time this summer to sit in that.
So, Ilana, we've spent a lot of time reflecting on the last 9 months. And that can be so powerful, it can be so freeing, it can be so opening. And we'd be remiss if we also didn't help everyone listening to this podcast with the path forward
Mhm.
and how you all really want to show up moving forward into summer, how you want to create and be and do. And we have such a powerful practice around that. You want to take everyone through that?
Yes, it's my favorite because it's called Hopes and Dreams, and what is a better name than that?
Mm.
Us tapping into the hopes and the dreams that we have for ourselves, and that's really what we wanna encourage all of you to do right now is just to take a moment and maybe, again, rest your hands on your heart. And you can stare off at something that inspires you, or maybe you soften your gaze or close your eyes. And I just invite you to sit in the question: what are your hopes and your dreams for yourself this summer, right? Today, tomorrow, next week, in the next several months. And if you could have it all, like if you could have it all, what is it that you would claim for yourself? Who do you want to be? How do you want to show up? What is it that you want to experience for yourself this summer that would be maybe relaxing, maybe rejuvenating, maybe inspiring, maybe something else that feels good to you? What are your hopes and your dreams for yourself? And just sitting in that. And I want you to imagine yourself. It's the end of summer. Maybe it's even the day before school starts again. And you've fully lived into that, right? You've fulfilled those hopes and dreams. Even things happen that were better than you expected. And what's there for you? I want you to feel that. I want you to see it. And I want you to be with that. Recognizing that you have the power within you to create the hopes and the dreams that you desire, and that you're worthy of fulfilling them. And so, with that, take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Honoring your hopes and dreams for yourself. Inhale. Big exhale. And now, y'all, biggest breath of the day. It's been a year. And out with a huge sigh.
Oh.
Give your heart a little rub, some love. And if your eyes are closed, you can gently open them. And y'all, the hopes and dreams that you just created for yourself, we want them to serve as your North Star, that North Star vision for yourself that you can always come back to as your anchor. But then we have this incredible way that you can literally set intentions to fulfill those hopes and dreams for yourselves each and every day. Today, tomorrow, the next day, the day after. So, Sam, you want to talk about the power of intention setting?
I'd love to. And what's beneath the power of intention setting has everything to do with the small habits that we all create every single day, right? Real change comes from making those micro shifts day in, day out that create that space over time to end up somewhere totally different or to really realize that vision that we have for our lives and where we want to be. And so I invite you all to just take a moment here and reflect, how do I want to be today, in this moment, over the next hour? How do I want to be? What is my intention for how I will show up so that over time, that intention will get me one step closer and build momentum for my vision that I have for my life? for this summer. And so take a moment here and see if you can just touch a way of being, a single word that just reflects the intention that you want to cultivate more of today in service of this vision. And maybe it's a word, maybe it's a statement or a phrase. See if you can bottom line it. And when you're ready, I invite you to share it out loud. Proclaim it, y'all. That's your intention. That's how you're going to show up. Ilana, what's yours?
Grateful.
Beautiful.
What's yours?
I want to just be joyful.
Mm,
That's what I want.
I want you
That's
to
my
be joyful
intention.
too. I'm so
Yeah.
excited I get to receive that joy.
Heck yeah.
And y'all, I just want to draw your attention to a word that Sam used when he was describing the practice, which is how do you want to be? We are not saying, what do you want to do? I want to accomplish this thing. I want to go to the store. I want to play with my kids. It's, I want to be grateful. I want to be joyful. I want to be compassionate. I want to be kind. And it's in that being that the doing happens. It's through being kind. It's through being playful. It's through being calm. It's through being present or whatever your intention is. That all the things that you want to accomplish for yourself will become so much more likely to actually happen because of how you are showing up to each moment.
1,000%. It's the way that we're being.
Mhm.
And I know that we have such a powerful daily practice
Yes, we
that
do.
really brings intention setting, but also some forms of movement and expression that we just hope that y'all will take with you this summer. It's just a beautiful way of being every single day. So, Ilana, you want to talk a little bit about
I'd
that?
love to break it down. So, we teach this in the master's program. And one of the things that I love the absolute most is that so many educators, hundreds of educators, are integrating this daily practice into their lives and experiencing profound benefits in their personal lives, but also in their teaching. And I just love it. So, we're going to give you the secret sauce and give you a little taste here. So, how it works is there's a beginning, a middle, and an end of day practice. Now, you might be like, what? Do you think I have time for that, Ilana? Even the summer, I've got all these plans. And I'm like, yes, you have time because it can literally take a minute. Okay. And I can guarantee that if you commit 1 minute to yourself each and every day, you will buy back hours of time because of how you're showing up and how you feel. So, the beginning of the day practice is you'll just start with a couple of breaths. And for the sake of simplicity, I'd encourage you to take 3 collective breaths, okay? So, you just take a deep breath in and a deep breath out. Inhale, exhale, breathe in, out with a huge sigh. And if you have more space and time, you can do a body scan or add more breaths. But it's just a breath practice to ground you. And then this is where the intention setting comes in. You connect to yourself. Maybe you bring your hands to your heart and you do exactly what Sam just did to us, which is ask yourself, what intention do I have for myself today? Right? This is the beginning of the day. It's when you wake up in the morning. Maybe you're still in bed. And you choose one word that represents the energy you want to bring into your day that will allow you to move towards the hopes and dreams that you have for yourself. And then you breathe that energy, that intention in and out for a couple of breaths. So maybe now we're at like 6 breaths. You've had that time. And then you end with some form of embodied movement that allows you to begin to cultivate that energy that aligns with your intention. So maybe if it's, self-compassion or self-love, the movement is just giving yourself a hug. Maybe if you're like Sam, joy, play, whatever, you like, do a little dance. Maybe you put on some music, you move around. If it's like maybe your intention is presence or calm, maybe you just take a deep breath in as you reach your arms up to the sky and then bring your hands back to your heart. The movement helps you begin to literally move energy through your body in a way that's aligned with your intention. That's the beginning of day practice.
And so, what are those three parts again, Ilana?
So there's a breath practice. I would recommend starting with 3 deep breaths. Then intention setting. Find that one word that represents the intention that you want to embody that day. And then last but not least, embodied mindful movement. And literally, there's no right way to do that part. Move in whatever way your body is craving that aligns with and will allow the intention to just live through you. So, breath practice, intention setting, embodied mindful movement, check. Move on with your day. And let me tell you, your day will be so much richer, more aligned with your hopes and dreams, and will allow you to live the life you want. And in one day, it'll make a difference. In a lifetime, it will change your life. That's beginning of day practice. And then middle of the day practice, it could be, during a transition between lunch and the next activity you're doing. Or maybe you're like, oh my God, I'm stressed, I'm overwhelmed, I'm anxious, I'm back to my, disempowering stories that are coming up. In that moment, you can be like, okay, you just come right back to the breath practice, take 3 deep breaths again. Remember, recall your intention. So bring that word back, right? Presence. Joy. And you're continuing to reconnect with your intention, and then bring that movement back in. The movement helps train the body to align with the energy of that intention, which will set you up for success for the rest of your day. And the end of day practice, this is a beautiful moment for what we did with you in the first half of the podcast, for reflection and integration and acknowledgement, right? You take a few breaths. Maybe you're literally just tucking yourself into bed, or it's right before you brush your teeth at night. You take 3 deep breaths, you reflect back on your intention, and you say, like, how did I embody this intention today? And you reflect back on the moments or the experience that you had that aligns with the intention. And you celebrate that through the breath and then through your movement. And there you have it. You'll go to sleep feeling more inspired, empowered, and aligned.
Such a beautiful way, right, of 3 moments. Take like a minute in the morning, the midday, and the end of day just to check in on your intention and to bring some expression and some breath into that. It can be such a powerful way of just slowly over time reconnecting with how you want to show up for the sake of that vision, for the sake of your dreams. So, y'all, we really hope that you bring this practice into your daily experience.
Mhm.
We hope that you have a beautiful, inspiring, wonderful, joyful, whatever you want it to be summer.
Mhm.
You all deserve it. You all are enough. You have done enough this school year. And for those of you who have a break now, we hope that you enjoy it. For those of you who are continuing to summer school,
Woohoo!
woohoo! And we hope that you give yourself a little bit of rejuvenation even in that, and just feel so blessed to be in the presence of so many extraordinary educators.
Y'all are the most important people in the world. Remember that. Give yourself the gift of rest, relaxation, and whatever it is that you need to enjoy the next couple of months. And we're here every step of the way for you. So thank you so much for being here. Sam, this was so beautiful to have this conversation.
Agreed.
And we'll see you soon, friends.
Bye, y'all.